Okay. Welcome everyone to the Norton Planning Board's meeting of Tuesday, May 24th, 2022. Again, as a hybrid meeting, members of the public are welcome to participate in person or remotely. In person, we are at the Norton Public Library at 68 East Main Street in Norton. To join online via video, you can please use the Zoom link available on the meeting agenda, or using the Zoom app using meeting ID 638-929-1060. There is also a dial-in number available, and the meeting can also be viewed on Norton Cable Access at Channel 15. Again, as we continue to use the hybrid format, please feel free to email questions to the board ahead of the meeting to Paul D. Giuseppe, the town planner, seated to my right, whose email address is listed on the meeting agenda itself. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, this meeting is being conducted in person and as a courtesy via remote means in accordance with applicable law. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public and board members, the meeting or hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless required by law. So, with that out of the way, I want to welcome everyone here. We do have two new members on the board with us this evening who weren't with us last night. We have Jim here to my left, and we have Bill attending remotely this evening. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
And we are still one member short of a 7-person board, and we'll go over that a little bit further down our agenda. So we have a number of items on the agenda this evening. As was posted on the revised agenda, there are a couple of public hearings that have requested continuances to a future meeting because we do not have the full board membership yet, and they would like to present with all 7 members available to vote. So those 2 applications are 280 South Washington Street with the applicant of Carroll Advertising, as well as 0, 126, 128, 154, that's Pine Street, correct?
Correct.
Pine Street and 0 Wood Road. Both of those applications have requested to be continued to the June 21st meeting. So, if we'd like to take those out of order and continue those now, we can do that. If we'd like to have any discussion around those requested continuances, we can do that at this time. But in case there are people attending the meeting for those items, I want to give them the opportunity to not have to sit through us talking to ourselves for half an hour before they realize those items are being continued.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to continue SP 12737 to, is it April 4th?
Second.
That's to June 21st, and that's the 280 South Washington Street? Correct?
Correct.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion on the motion to continue 280 South Washington Street to June the 21st? Okay. Hearing none, I will go through the roll, starting in person, then Bill, I'll finish with you on the remote feed. So, Jim?
Pass, yes, agree to continue.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Going on down?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Okay. And the other application that was seeking continuance was the Pine Street project. Do we have anything we want to discuss prior to taking action on that item?
Make a motion to continue DEF 13932 and SP 14704 to June 21.
Second.
Thank you, Alan, for the motion and Wayne for the second. Is there any further discussion on the motion to continue to June the 21st? Okay. Hearing none, I'll go through the roll one more time.
Yes.
Okay. Wayne?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Okay. So both the Pine Street and South Washington Street projects are continued to June 21st. And with that out of the way, we can get on with the rest of our agenda in terms of the call to order and general business. In terms of planning board business and policies, Paul, if you want to just summarize again the procedural aspects of the joint meeting with the select board tomorrow evening.
Sure. Oops. Also have my role of hosting this. So tomorrow night, starting at 7:15, you're going to have a joint meeting with the select board to select one more person to fill out the seventh seat of this board. We are just at one person now, and the gentleman's name is Aaron Norris. I did forward you an email he had sent, which describes a little bit of why he's interested in the position. So I've been coordinating with him. He'll be here tomorrow night. So again, it is a hybrid meeting, so you can participate, come here directly, or go through Zoom.
And the appointing body is the select board.
It's a joint meeting, so you're both going to vote on it.
Joint vote.
It's a
Yeah.
joint vote.
Okay.
And can I make a plug?
Please.
Since we are in need now for ZBA to have two members filled. David Wren is not running after his term ends at the end of June, so they're a 5-member board. They're now down to 3 members, which is the minimum for it. So anyone here in the audience who's interested in running, we really need to get those seats filled.
Okay. And just to confirm, that is here at the library rather than the media center, correct?
It is here.
Okay.
Yes.
Having made that mistake for prior meetings, I want to make sure.
Unless you want to attend the ZBA meeting.
Which is over there tomorrow night.
No, thank you. Okay. So,
Is it a full select board meeting, or is it just the?
It's a full.
It's
Full
a
select
agenda.
board, but time posted for 7:15, but as you know, we don't know exactly when that will start, but on your agenda and on the select board, it is listed for the joint meeting to be at 7:15. So what that means is they can't be heard prior to 7:15, but they do have a few items. I don't know. I don't know how they'll handle it, but
they generally post the agendas online, so,
yeah, it's up.
yeah. Okay. So, we do have some other board business further down in terms of future meeting dates and elections. Paul, is there anything else related to, that's not going to be covered in those items that you think we need to discuss, kind of as the board ramps up? I know obviously you've shared materials with everybody, and
So I'm working with town council, the town's attorney, who works specifically with planning board and the zoning board of appeals. And with so many new members, I've asked her to come and present to you a training about the role of planning board. So I'm hoping it'll be one of your 2 June meetings. We're still trying to get that set up, but Amy Quessels is our town council. She's done this training before for the planning board and ZBA. So I think it'd be a great value to, certainly for the new members, but certainly for everyone else to, get reminders and so forth.
I'm not sure what the first June agenda, what the other June agenda looks like, but the 21st already looks like it has a couple of items.
It's
So-
filling up. Yeah, and there's some others that are new that will be heard that you haven't seen yet.
Okay. Okay. So, is there anything else you wanted to cover under that item, or?
No.
Okay. In terms of bills and warrants, let's see, this is just payroll, and then we have 2 bills, I apologize, which are from Horsley Witten Group, related to peer reviews for 324 East Main Street and Blue Star Business Park, buildings 1 through 5 and number 7.
So
1 through 5 and number 7 is a long time, is that?
They're both for inspection
Okay.
review. So when we get large projects, we, from time to time, will get a peer review to do the construction inspections.
Okay. Yeah, no, the building numbers threw me off for a second
Right.
because I wanted to confirm that. So I'll pass these down the line here if anybody would like to review them. I apologize, Bill, I cannot beam them to you over the computer at this point. Just by way of point of information, this is discussed later down in the agenda, but going back 2 years, the board did make a move to, when we were meeting remotely or meeting hybrid, and to move to a sole signer policy for both plans and bills. So procedurally, this is just for everybody to take a look at, and I will sign it. Whether we want to continue that policy or adjust that policy, we can address in a few minutes. If there are any questions, obviously, please feel free to ask them. In terms of the approval of minutes, Brian, thank you for the warning about the length of the minutes that we had to review. Given that we have 3 new members on the board who were not members on the 5th, Alan and Wayne, obviously the 3 of us are the only members who would be voting on these minutes. So did either of you have any questions, comments? Given the length, do you feel comfortable voting on them at this time, or would you like some additional time to review?
I move we approve the minutes of April 5th, 2022.
I'm sorry, Alan, I didn't hear.
Second.
Second? Okay. We have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the minutes of April the 5th. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Okay. Obviously, this will be an interesting vote since 3 of you weren't on the board at that time, but we're going to go through the roll anyway, just all the same. Jim?
Yes.
I would probably recommend that you potentially abstain.
Abstain then? Okay. Abstain.
Wayne?
Yes.
Laura?
Abstain.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill?
Abstain.
And I will vote yes. So we have 3, 0, and 3. Okay. Future meeting dates. We do have meetings through June, correct? We don't have anything further.
Correct.
Do we have we probably need to book at least a couple of more meetings in order to make sure that we don't run into trouble in terms of scheduling things. Obviously, I'd like to have Eric's input before we go too far. But looking at, we have, again, June the 21st and June the 28th. July 5th. Tuesdays would be the 5th, the 12th, the 19th, and the 26th. The 5th would be 3 weeks in a row, which we can do in terms of that. The 12th, I know the second Tuesdays are a conflict for you, Bill, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. So out of the 3 remaining Tuesdays in July, we have the 5th, the 19th, and the 26th. Out of the members that we have here, does anybody have any travel around the 4th that would be a challenge? Is that a no-go?
I'm fine with those days.
I can be available on the 5th if you need me.
Is that, I would prefer not to meet on the 5th?
If at all possible, but I don't want to be the one holding it up, so
That's okay.
I could be
I'll say I
available.
prefer not on the 5th.
I asked the question, yeah. So we would have 2 weeks in a row on the 21st and the 28th, and then we would have a 2-week break, and then the 19th and the 26th potentially of July. Does that represent, is everybody comfortable with those?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, write that down as well. So we will pencil those in. Obviously, when Eric is on the board, and we can discuss with him on the 21st, we can see if that does represent any issues or things like that. Obviously, when new members come on board, it's always a bit of a scheduling discussion to figure all that out. Okay. Next item under general business is, because we do have a new board composition here, we are coming up to elections within the board for the positions of chair, vice chair, clerk, and SERPED representative. And then we have an additional item regarding the continuation or not of the sole signature for plans and payroll. So I think the elections is probably the first one there. In terms of the positions, obviously the chair is what I've been doing for the last year and a half, 2 years, I forget exactly. Moderating the meeting and leading the board and representing the board at town meeting, which is always fun. Vice chair basically serves as a second for the chair, and Alan, I'll ask you, if you don't mind, to give some additional color regarding responsibilities for both the clerk and the SERPED representative, if that's okay?
Sure. Clerk, you're basically taking, not meeting minutes, but any points that we're discussing that we have to follow up on for the next meetings. There's a form that Paul has. And then some signing of decisions, going to town hall and sign what's needed after we make a decision. SERPED is actually very interesting. It's probably about an hour and a half meeting every month. It's made up of, is it 19 towns, Paul? SERPED?
Yeah, 19 or 20?
I believe it's 19. All South Shore towns. SERPED's out of Taunton. It covers everything from transportation to planning to
Economic development,
Economic
transportation.
Is there something in there with security too?
Yeah, there's Homeland Security.
Homeland Security is what, that hasn't come up yet in the last year.
Yeah, and hazard mitigation.
Transportation is probably the biggest thing that's talked about. There's probably 3 or 4 presenters every meeting. Last meeting, there was a professor from Bridgewater presenting. It's very informative. If someone else would like to do it, I would recommend it.
I understand they've been hounding you to have us discuss this, a new representative.
Everybody, every town, yeah. They're pretty strict on making sure their appointments are on time.
Okay.
And I have that form too. Oh, I didn't print it, but.
You wanted to show up the issue tracker form for the
The
members?
SERPED form.
Sure, if you want to share that, if you want.
Yeah.
You can just pull it up on the
Yep.
screen just to give some additional clarity there. And obviously, the chair, vice chair, and clerk are individual positions, and the SERPED representative position is independent of that. So if you are serving in one of the other elected positions on the board, you can also serve as the SERPED representative if you are appointed and so choose to accept. So if you see, as you see on screen, here's a short summary of the of SERPED
No.
and the agenda for those meetings. So, in terms of kind of moving things along here,
Mr. Chair,
yes, please.
I would like to make a motion to nominate Timothy Griffin as the chair of the planning board.
Okay. Thank you, Laura, for the motion, and Wayne for the second. I was going to ask how people, whether people wanted to proceed at clerk or proceed at chair, and go in one direction or the other, but I guess that answers that question for me. So we do have a nomination and a second for chair. Thank you, Laura. I would accept the nomination. Are there any other nominations for the position of planning board chair at this time? Okay. Well, I guess we should go and do a vote then. Unless anybody had, I'll give everybody another minute to, while I ramble here. But otherwise, Jim, I'll start with you.
Yes.
Yes.
Wade? Laura?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I guess I will vote yes for myself, otherwise that would seem very odd. Okay. Now again, moving to the position of vice chair, who serves to moderate meetings if the chair is not able to attend for whatever reason, etc. And again, the same carries forward to speaking at town meeting if the chair is unable to.
Mr. Chair?
Just as a note, I do plan to be able to be at town meeting if that's a deciding factor for anybody. Yes, Laura, I apologize for cutting you
No,
off.
that's okay. That was a very good point to make. I would like to make a motion to nominate Alan Booley as vice chair.
Second.
Thank you, Laura, for the motion, and Wayne for the second. Alan, do you accept that nomination?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any additional nominations for the position of vice chair? You can nominate yourselves if you so choose. Okay. Well, in that case, we will go again to the vote. Jim?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I will vote yes.
Mr. Chair, I'll nominate Laura Parker for clerk.
Okay. Thank you, Alan, for the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Wayne, for the second. Laura, do you accept the nomination?
I will accept.
Okay. Are there any additional nominations for the position of clerk of the planning board? Okay. Well, in that case, this makes this very simple. Jim, I'll start with you again.
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Okay. And in terms of Serpent representative, Alan, thank you for the color on that position. Is anybody interested in being appointed as the Town of Norton's Serpent representative at this time? Again, this is not something that is necessarily tied to an election, so we can address this whenever we need. Jim, I apologize, you were raising your hand there.
Yes, I would be interested.
Okay. And I will second your nomination there. Is there anybody else who would like to make a nomination or nominate themselves? Nobody? Alan, you want to do it again?
Jim will do a great job.
I appreciate your confidence.
Okay. Well, in that case, we will go again through the vote. Jim?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Okay. So that takes care of elections. Paul, I know you have a form for the Serpent representative. Is
Yeah.
that something that needs to be filled in or signed, or?
It does, and I unfortunately did not bring a hard copy.
That's okay.
But
So
it'll be signed by you,
it'll be signed by me?
yes, as
Ah.
the chair.
Okay. We will figure that out and get it signed. Do you know when the next meeting is?
June 21st.
The
No,
Serpent.
The next Serpent meeting.
I think there's an in-person meeting on Thursday, but that was I think you had to RSVP ahead of time. It's at a restaurant in Westport. It's their first annual meeting that's been in person in a few years.
Right. So it's not the Serpent meeting that
I don't
usually
know.
attend, it's for everybody. It's for all the different,
That annual meeting is?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure when the next regular Serpent meeting is then.
Okay. Well, Paul, if you can get that information to Jim so he can get it on his calendar, we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay. The next item's on item number E on our general business here, as we continue to get everything started, is a decision whether or not to revisit the current policies in place for sole signatures for plans and bills. Again, over the last 2+ years, myself and the prior chair, Steve, were the sole signer for bills rather than holding a vote on the bills during the meeting, as well as plans such as A&Rs, which would be signed by one person, myself, rather than us taking a giant Mylar and sending it down the table for everybody's signature. So, if we do nothing, those policies would stay in place. If we would choose to take action and revisit those policies, we can make any motions we choose to on that light, correct? We did not have any expiration dates on any of those.
You did
yet.
not, and since you're remaining as chair, that's what was recorded at the registry, so it would continue on.
Okay. So we can choose either take action at this time, take action at a later date. Obviously, it represents the least amount of change for me, since I'm the one who's signing everything right now, so.
Need a motion?
We can do a motion, or we can just say that we'd like to table it for discussion at a further date.
Table discussion for further date.
Does anybody have anything further? Okay. And again, if we feel like this is worth revisiting as we decide to do, if we switch from doing fewer hybrid meetings and everybody's in the room all the time and it makes sense to revisit, we can certainly do that. But for now, we can table this discussion. So, we're finally out of the planning board business and policies section. Payroll is just with the chair, correct?
Right, but accounting does want to see an annual approval of that policy.
Okay, so I apologize, I've been corrected. What was the process prior to sole signature? Everybody had to sign?
No, sole signature is separate. That's separate, but payroll is, you have to, each year after each election, you are required to make a motion and pass it as to who will sign the payroll, and also that includes giving the town manager authorization to sign my timesheet.
Okay, so I apologize. We do have one more item before we move on. Thank you, Paul. So, accounting policies dictate one additional discussion regarding who signs payroll for the planning department, which is some planning economic development, which is laid out in our bylaws, correct?
Mhm.
So, I am happy to continue doing that if that is the board's preference.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Other than we'd like to change that bylaw at some point to allow the town manager to sign his own payroll stubs. Okay. I will go through a roll for this. Jim?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. And I will sign this as soon as we finish the meeting. Okay. So without further ado, we can actually move into discussing what we're here to do, which is discuss projects. We have 3 A&R, which is again, approval not required applications. So any action that we take on these plans would be to endorse the A&R plan. And Brian, thank you for attaching the A&R guidance to the agenda, which I think is helpful. I think Laura may have a question or two to ask Paul, maybe you or Amy in the future about the the guidance and the handbook about A&Rs in general.
I can wait until if she's gonna come and do a training
Yeah.
session, that'll be perfect.
Yeah. But again, with the A&R, we'll let the applicant present, but we are not, with an A&R process, we are not conferring or implying that anything meets zoning guidelines. We are simply approving the lines on the map. So, obviously, it's great to have context from all of the applicants about what's going to happen, but without saying anything further, we'll start with 68 Leonard Street, and the applicant is Ruhan General Contracting. I apologize if I mispronounced that. If you could please come to the podium behind us here. That'll give you the best view of people on camera. And as you can see, the plan is being shared up on the screen there if you'd like to speak to it.
Good evening, Rachel Smith from Otis Dyer's office, representing Brendan Ruhan from Ruhan General Contracting. Mr. Ruhan has a piece of land with an existing house at 68 Leonard Street. This is a good-sized piece of property. It has almost 9 acres of land with about 578 feet of frontage. However, it is somewhat challenged by a substantial wetlands. The wetlands comes in from the back line in a swale and then opens up into a large bowl shape and then flows out in the front. So Mr. Ruhan would like to just create one buildable lot from this property in addition to the existing single-family home. So the single-family home, which is there now, would be Lot 2. That would have 5.619 acres of land. This is an R80 zone, by the way, and contiguous upland area would be 82,475 square feet. It does meet the shape factor. It's not great, but it does at 21.70. And then the new lot would be called Lot 1. That would have 3.365 acres with a contiguous upland of 106,046 square feet and shape factor of 16.81. So basically, this property is already in 2 pieces of upland because the property is bisected by the wetlands. So you can create one new lot, and the rest of it is just wetlands. So that's all you can get out of it is one lot, but that's all he would like to get is just one new lot, and then the existing lot is already there. The existing house, sorry, is already there on Lot 2.
Okay. Are there any additional questions from members of the board regarding the plan here?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I could just ask Paul a point of clarification. The frontage for Lot 2 only seems to take into account that section that's north of the driveway. Is that due to the orientation of the house?
That actually should be directed toward the
Would
applicant.
you be able to provide some context on that?
Lot 2 does have a lot of extra frontage. Is that your question?
Yes, I'm wondering, it only seems to be taking into account, at least here on the plans, the portion that's north of the driveway.
No, there's one course right near the house, which is 188 feet, and then there's another course that's 174.96. So it has total frontage of 362.96 feet.
Okay. Oh, I do see it. I'm sorry.
So yeah, right above where it says split rail
Yep.
fence. Yeah.
Thank you.
That may be the first time we miss a frontage marker on a map. It'll certainly not be the last. Probably not the last one tonight.
I should have specified the frontage anyway.
No, that's fine.
Well, the 174 was more than sufficient, so.
Yes. Okay. Do you have any further questions regarding this project or this plan? If not, the action would be to endorse the A&R plan.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to endorse the A&R Plan 14970.
Second.
Thank you, Alan, for the motion, and Laura for the second. Is there any further discussion on the motion to endorse? Okay, hearing none, I'll go through the roll. Jim?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I will vote yes.
Want a smarter way to make
So,
home improvements?
I'll sign Mylar, and then you'll have that, and
From Coastal One
some
Credit Union.
paper copies
No
as well.
points.
Okay,
Sorry.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay. The next A&R on our agenda is 475 South Worcester Street. And are you presenting on that one as well?
I have two of them tonight.
Uh-oh.
And again, it's Rachel Smith from Otis Dyer's office.
Just
In
wait
this
for 1
case-
second while we share this up on the screen. And thank you again for sharing the preliminaries. It's always one of those things where I have to try to remember myself to remind people. So let's get shared right now. So please go ahead.
Okay, so in this case, this is 475 South Worcester Street, and also a lot called 0 South Worcester Street. And there are two different property owners involved here. Barry and Nancy Close own 475 South Worcester, which has an existing single-family home on it. And then there is what was a large landlocked parcel of land which belonged to M. Perry and Son Construction, that's 0 South Worcester. So the two landowners would like to work together to create one buildable lot. So the Closes would be putting forth the parcel A, which has the frontage of 150 feet, and that would be, that would connect through to the land which is owned by M. Perry and Son. So parcel A would be the Close parcel, parcel B would be the Perry parcel, and they would be combined to create a lot 1. And that would have a total of 7.37 acres with 150 feet of frontage. The contiguous upland is 202,668 square feet in an R60 zone. And the shape factor would be 16.33. And that would leave the Closes with lot 2, which is 13.083 acres, contiguous upland of 4.65 feet, and 225.53 frontage, with a shape factor of 16.33. So it would be, I believe, two very nice large lots. The new lot, the house will have to be way in the back because of the wetlands in the front, just as the Closest house is towards the back. But it makes two very nice large-sized lots.
And just to restate one more time, what is the parcels that would be, I
So on
guess,
the-
that's a piece of land that's switching ownership? If it
Yep,
may?
so up on the north of the plan, right near the street, you'll see parcel A. That
Okay.
is currently part of the lot which the Close, Barry and Nancy Close own. They will be combining that with parcel B, which belongs to Perry and Sons Construction. And that will provide the frontage and the access. There is currently, we are showing a driveway easement. Oak Hill Engineering will be bringing in a plan for a common driveway to take care of that. I mean, if for any reason that didn't go through, they would have to go to Conservation, obviously, to look at a wetlands crossing. However, they will be coming in with a common drive plan because that would be the best way to access it without impacting the wetlands.
Okay. And has that special permit been filed at this point or not?
Not yet, no.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for the summary. Are there any questions from members of the board regarding this submitted plan?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Laura?
do we need to see the easement to determine vital access to the buildable portion of the lot? is available?
There is an easement if you zoom out, Paul.
There is a blow-up of the easement on...
Has that already been granted?
None of the legal documents have been done yet, waiting for this plan to be endorsed.
Okay. I guess that was my question, is does that need to be done? Otherwise, Lot 1 as it stands does not have vital access.
Correct. Yes, that would,
Well, Lot 1 would have to file with conservation for a crossing if there were no easement.
yeah. I mean, the easement is shown on the plan. It is our discretion whether to view that as access.
Okay.
But I know if I were in that position, I would probably wait to sign over the papers until everything was approved as well. But
Okay. And the common driveway needs a special permit regardless.
the common driveway is a special permit, yes.
Okay. I'm fine. I just didn't know whether we needed proof of the easement. We needed to
That's a good
demonstrate.
question. It's like, what comes first?
Right. And sorry, I'm new.
That's okay.
No, if it, depending on the situation, there are, I think, some cases where, possibly in potentially more complex situations where we have wanted more things in writing and signed and kind of a written submittal by the applicants that there is an agreement to have the easement or something like that.
Okay. I'm assuming since the parcel that is selling is also going to be amenable to an easement for those purposes.
That would probably be part of the, yes. Okay. Paul, is there anything else regarding this application that you think we should discuss?
No, I think we've covered everything.
Okay. Any further questions from members of the board?
Motion to endorse A&R 15084.
Seconded.
Thank you, Ellen, for the motion, and Laura for the second. Is there any further discussion on the motion to endorse? Okay. Jim, I'll start with you again.
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill? Bill, I apologize, you're muted, so I'm going to ask you to say that again.
Yes.
Thank you. And I vote yes. So, motion to endorse is approved.
Thank you all.
Thank you. And one more A&R right in a row. We have another A&R for 192 Taunton Avenue. And applicant is Craig Simanowski. I apologize if I just butchered your last name there. Nice to see you again. And just give Paul a moment to share the document here. And then we will get right started. And there we go, wonders of technology.
Okay, Craig Siganowski here, Rim Engineering. Excuse me, here to represent the applicant Marjorie Devlin. It's the Robert Devlin Trust since he had passed away. So they've owned this for many years. The house number 192 Taunton Avenue is shown as being built in 1812. So it sits very close to the road and is pre-existing non-conforming prior to zoning. So we've created 4 lots, one of which will contain the house, and the house is set to conform to the side yard setbacks, but obviously cannot conform to the front yard setback. All 4 lots have a minimum 150 feet of frontage. All 4 lots we've created, they're in the R60, so we've actually gone to a minimum 80,000 square feet of contiguous upland, so they can build duplexes if they choose. And all 4 lots can be accessed through the frontage. The Lot 1, which is to the left on the plan, is closest to the Wading River, so the state highway has a guardrail along the street as it drops off. But we have about 80 to 90 feet of unobstructed access off of Route 140, so we can access through that area. The wetlands have been flagged by Garda Consultant, but have not been approved by the town. But as I said, we have a minimum of 80,000 square feet contiguous upland in R60. And we make the shape factor in all 4 lots.
Okay. Thank you for answering the question on the guardrail. That was going to be one of my notes, because we ran
Yeah, I
into
went
that
up there and looked at it the other day. The remaining land, this lot goes back and actually connects to the Wading River about 1,000 feet past where we have the end of our lots. But because the town now has a dead-end road, maximum 1,000 feet, and we'd end up in the middle of the wetlands, this was the best way to divide the land. So the remaining land is shown as 15.13 acres. Contains a lot of wetlands and does not have any frontage, so we're showing it as a non-building lot. And the owner plans to do whatever process it is that the Preservation Society of Norton takes over conservation land.
That does go way back there.
Yeah,
Goes all the way to almost to South Washington Street.
yeah, it goes to the center of the Wading River. So 1,000 feet of road doesn't get past the wetlands, so there's no point in trying to, there's no other access or entrance from another street.
Okay. Any questions from members of the board regarding this application?
Craig, can we go back to the side yard setback? Why couldn't we make that conforming?
We are making the house, there is a stipulation that, and Marge Devlin's the one who suggested it, that, excuse me, there's a sort of detached or sort of attached garage behind the existing house that was added on. It's not as old as 1812. It's about 40 feet long, and we're going to take 25 feet of that off to allow the existing structure, or the entire garage could be removed. We need to make 25 feet from the side yard, so when we take off that 26 feet of garage, we make the 25 feet minimum.
I misunderstood what you said. You are conforming to the
We are conforming to the side yards, but the front yard of the house sits back about 20 feet from the road.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, it looks a lot closer than the 20 feet. But again, it was built in 1812, so it predates zoning in this area.
There is no shortage of existing non-conforming lots in the town of Norton, to be sure. Okay. You have any questions for the applicant here? If not, I would entertain a motion to endorse the A&R application.
Motion to endorse A&R 15150.
Second.
Thank you, Alan, for the motion and Wayne for the second. Is there any further discussion on the motion to endorse? Okay, hearing none. Jim?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I will vote yes.
Thank you.
Craig, did you bring the
The
Mylar?
Mylar and the
Okay.
there.
Sounds
Just
good.
pick it up some other time.
Yeah, we'll let you know when he signs it.
Okay.
He'll sign it tonight, but we'll email you tomorrow.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay. Next item on our agenda is a modification to a special permit and site plan. This is located at 196 Mansfield Avenue. So the applicant is seeking a determination to proceed with a minor modification to the special permit and the site plan. So in terms of process here, Paul, just to confirm, the modification to a special permit requires a couple of different votes. We would need to find that the requested change does fall into what we could classify as a minor modification. And then we would take action one way or the other. If we do find that's a minor modification, then we can proceed as we see fit. If we do not find that is a minor modification, and we feel it makes a significant change to the approved special permit, then we can find that it does not meet the conditions for a minor modification, and by doing that, we are essentially requesting that the applicant renotice as a new special permit, or as a major modification, which requires
Correct.
notice.
Yes.
Did I summarize that correctly, Paul? Is there
Very
anything else you
accurately.
want to add?
No, that's
Okay.
accurate.
Okay, so I'll let you go ahead and proceed and just run through, give some background on the project itself, because we do have 3 members who
Sure.
did not hear the original application, and then details as to what exactly the modification is that's being requested.
Perfect. All right. For the record, my name is Casey Birch. I'm a civil engineer with Solely Engineering, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Norton Land Ventures LLC, to discuss the minor modification to the approved site plan and special permit application for the proposed flex warehouse facility located at 196 Mansfield Avenue. We did come to you in March with a site plan review application and special permit application for a 100,000 square foot flex warehouse facility located at 196 Mansfield Avenue with associated drainage, parking, loading areas, and utility infrastructure that we were placing this along the corridor. In April, we did receive approval for both the special permit, and during that time, since this project is along Mansfield Avenue and we are providing access off Route 140, we did have to coordinate with DOT to get the proper permitting. This is the approved site drive at the time, and DOT came back with a few comments regarding the site drive and has requested that we push the limit. Here's the approved curb, to push the limit approximately almost 7 feet or 8 feet out to the north, as well as provide a mountable curb in this area right here, very short strip along the southern portion of the site drive. Now, we are tying roughly back into where the curb cut was in the approved plan, and we are tying back into the 40-foot wide drive that was approved in this location. It's about 36 linear feet with it's a 6-foot wide, and then it tapers back down to 0 into where the approved location was. Yeah, so it's a pretty minor modification to the site drive, and that's surprisingly, dealing with the DOT for this many years, and that was their only comment, I was shocked.
So that's an island that's going in the middle?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, that is not. That'll be just yellow striping, a double yellow striping.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't want to provide an island in that area. Just
That was going to be my question, because obviously it's a flex warehouse, so you'd have trucks coming in and out. Putting an island in there seems like...
yeah, we put any additional curbing, it'd probably get destroyed in the future. So.
Okay. And just to refresh my memory, the north of the driveway, that was intended, that was going to be green space, correct?
Yes, it's a flat area, but then it goes down into our detention basin. But this area was landscaping. We are maintaining the same amount of shrubs in this area to go around the proposed monument sign that's there. We just had to push the monument sign back a little.
Oh, yeah, I see the movement now, yeah.
Essentially, things just got pushed 6 feet up for the majority of it.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for the applicant here? And again, if we do not have any additional questions and we want to take action, our first action is to find whether or not that we feel this meets the definition of a minor modification of the special permit, and then take action thereafter.
I'll make a motion that this meets the definition of a minor modification.
Second.
Okay. Thank you, Alan, for the motion, and Wayne for the second. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Again, finding that this is a minor modification to the approved plan. Okay. I will now go through the roll. Jim?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I will vote yes as well. Okay. With the determination or the finding that this is a minor modification to the approved special permit and site plan, is there any further action that we would like to take regarding this application? And do we need two motions for this, a special permit and a site plan, or one?
You can take it up as one,
Okay.
but just make it in the motion that it's the modification to both the site plan and the special permit.
Thank you.
So I'll make a motion to approve the modification of the site plan 13540 and special permit 13479.
I think you have those reversed, depending on, I'm not going to recall which one was which 3 months ago, but those numbers may be reversed, but just to, for both the special permit and the site plan, regardless of which numbers they are?
Correct.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Alan, for the motion, and Wayne for the second. Is there any further discussion on the motion to approve the minor modification? Okay. Hearing none. Jim?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Paul, in a second, we have the signed documentation for you and follow up.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Okay. So, we now have two additional special permit discussions this evening. We've already continued 280 South Washington Street as well as the Pine Street project. So the next item on our agenda is special permit 13760, which is for 156 West Main Street. The applicant is looking to convert a salon into a third residential unit. So if the applicant is here, again, I'll ask you to step to the podium so that the camera can see your smiling face. And Paul, if you could pull up the plan of the site, we can proceed and discuss the project.
There you are.
So many special permits, so little time. And if there are any additional documents in the packet that you'd like to speak to, just kind of, Paul can share and we can do what we can to keep everything going, so. Do you want to just introduce yourself? And we'll go from
Yeah,
there?
my name's John Orlando, 156 West Main Street, and we're looking to convert this hair salon into an apartment. Right now, we have two other apartments there.
Okay.
We should point out that John received a special permit for a duplex back in 2014. It was impermanized, but as he mentioned, he has 2 units there, but an approval was made. So this would be a further modification, just adding, replacing, this was once Nadine's salon, with now a residential unit. So 3 units. The 3 units is considered multifamily, the zone village commercial, so he would need the approval by special permit.
Okay. And Mr. Orlando, just to confirm, are there any proposed changes to the exterior of the building?
No, the exterior is the same.
Okay.
There's adequate parking? I don't see parking laid out.
Yeah, there's a lot of, there's like 19 spots, actually.
That whole, yeah, so that whole area behind the building is parking for that building?
Yes,
Okay,
and there's parking in the front.
okay, yeah, so, yeah, it's not, if, Paul, if you could scroll up a little bit. In the, yeah, there we go.
There we go.
There we go, there's the parking. Okay. I mean, this is a special permit, so it is you can choose to approve or not, whether or not we feel this meets the criteria for special permit approval, meaning that we feel that it's economically or socially desirable, and other conditions. Does anybody have any additional questions for Mr. Orlando here regarding this application?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
can we ask the applicant if there's any intention to modify the front driveway, the circular one?
No, keep it the same.
Okay. So no plans to change the exterior or the driveway layout as is, and that does connect into that back lot, correct? That front,
No.
or is that
No,
end of the
no,
garage,
no,
that
no.
ends at the detached shed?
No.
The upstairs parking car apartment uses the front.
Well, the parking, the driveway does not connect into the back, no.
Oh, okay. From the front, it looked like it did for a second, but I apologize.
It goes to the side of the house.
So that was mostly parking for the clients of the salon?
No, that was for the
Existing.
apartment upstairs, the second floor apartment. And the parking in the rear was for the salon.
Yeah, that's the existing parking.
Right, right.
Right.
Okay. So any further questions for the applicant at this time?
A motion to close the public hearing first on this, or? motion-
Yes, I apologize. Procedurally, we would need to close the public hearing, which would mean we would not accept any further comments, discussions, testimonies thereafter, and then we would vote on the special permit itself.
Motion to close the public hearing on SP 13760.
Second.
Okay. Alan for the motion and Wayne for the second. Is there any further discussion on the motion to close the public hearing for 156 West Main Street? Okay. Hearing none. Jim?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. So the public hearing is now closed. Is there any further action requested on the special permit application itself?
A motion to approve SP 13760.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion regarding the motion to approve the special permit? Okay. Jim?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Okay. Paul will get a decision.
Okay,
We'll get
thank
a
you.
decision signed to you and follow up to you, and then continue to go through the process.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And the final item on our agenda this evening, we have one more special permit, which is 14100 for 34 South Worcester Street. The applicant is looking to convert retail space into a third residential unit. So, here, you're already at the podium, so I don't need to say that again. If you'd like to, again, just introduce yourself and give us a brief overview of the project, we will go from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Hong Lei Lai. We just purchased this property and closed on May 19th. And before I came to the town, talked with Paul and Brian. And original it's Charlie's door, and it's in the residential room R40. So we are converting the usage for the first floor, the retail store space, into a residential apartment.
Okay. And just to summarize, on the lot right now, there's 2 units in that in the front building?
Yeah.
There's
It's
one.
one unit, yeah.
One unit above, and then there's a unit in the back.
That's one unit in the back? That's not
Yes.
multiple units? Okay.
That's just one unit, then the floor above is one unit, and she's looking to convert the bottom floor to a third unit. So similar to the last applicant, and this is zoned R40, which again does allow multifamily by special permit.
Okay. In this case, it's just 2 different buildings that have 3 units. split.
Right, so by our bylaw, we count them as multiple units on one lot.
Okay. I asked this the last applicant, I'll ask again. Are there plans to modify the exterior of the building at all in terms of the footprint?
No.
I'm sorry, but
That's okay. The front of the existing building, the one in the front, it's blacktop, and it looks like it's been mounted to provide handicap access. Will there be any landscaping done in the front or to remove any of the blacktop to kind of more conform with a residential neighborhood?
Yes, I think so.
Is that shown on any of the plans at all? Or is that something that you plan to do but hasn't been presented with this application? In terms of landscaping?
I think for this permit, not, maybe we will apply for the building permit and we'll add there.
Okay. That's, okay. So this is just a special permit, it's not a site plan review?
Okay.
So, but yes, it's a good question. It does look very, very retail, obviously, with the mounding. Paul, were you going to add something?
I just want to mention too, she has applied for a variance with the ZBA. I'm trying to recall because I know it's lot size, the small lot size. She was supposed to go to ZBA a couple weeks ago, but they had quorum issues, and they're meeting tomorrow night. So, in the past, you all have put a condition in the special permit to say that it's subject to approval by the ZBA. But she is in the process and was slated to have a review a couple weeks ago, but it'll be tomorrow night.
Makes sense? Yeah, so should we make a motion to approve, we would be approving with conditions. And one of those conditions could be the approval by ZBA. We can also add additional conditions if we so choose.
Yeah, is that walkway going to remain? The sidewalk that's coming across from the picture that I see there?
The main sidewalk?
Yeah,
It's just,
is that all continuous?
That continues all the way up to 123, yeah.
So there's not going to be a lot of room to add anything there,
No, there isn't.
landscaping wise.
Okay. Do you have any additional questions for the applicant at this time? Again, they're looking to convert the retail space on the first floor of what used to be the Chartley Country Store into a residential apartment unit.
Mr. Chair, am I correct that once this change, if it is approved, it can't be used for commercial use any longer?
That would be my understanding, yes, because it is.
And also, I just want to add that by our bylaw, in this case, again, the Chartley Country Store was a non-conforming use. It was a legal use because it predated. But if a non-conforming use is vacant for 2 years or more, you lose that right of that.
So
So
it has to be conforming?
then it has to fall back on the zoning district.
How long has it been vacant?
How long?
It's been since 2020.
It's getting close.
No, it's probably coming up on a year.
Yeah, but a
This
year.
December.
Yeah,
Okay.
December.
But-
So they're still within that 2-year window.
And the lot in the back is continuing to be occupied, correct? Or is it not?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's been in use, so it hasn't been vacant. And I wouldn't want to go down that rabbit hole of whether part of the property has been vacant or not, in terms of whether something meets that standard. That may be an argument somebody wants to make, but I don't think that would be me. Okay. Do we have any additional questions for the applicant looking to convert the retail space into a residential unit? Again, we're not the building inspector, so all that stuff would flow through them in terms of access, egress, et cetera.
Yep. Chartley Country Store closed on April 2nd, 2021, and it was landmark Chartley Country Store in Norton over 4 years ago, and later it has been sold in October 2020.
Okay. Thank you, Peter. It's always good to have the history of the sites.
Yep.
Okay. So again, our first action, if we have no further questions for the applicant, would be to close the public hearing and then take action on the application itself.
Motion to close the public hearing on SP 14100.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Wayne, for the second. Is there any further discussion regarding the motion to close the public hearing for the special permit 14100? Okay. Hearing none. Jim?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. So the public hearing for 34 Suffolk Street is now closed. Is there any additional action we would like to take regarding this special permit application?
Motion to approve the special permit 14100 with the condition of approval of the ZBA.
As well as other standard conditions?
Correct, those one of the standard conditions.
Second.
Okay. Thank you, Alan, for the motion, and Wayne for the second. Is there any further discussion on the motion to approve?
So when you say those standards there, when you approve that, again, because it's non-conforming and it's so close to the road there, I don't think it's feasible to think that there's going to be dramatic changes to that frontage, correct?
Yeah, I would agree. There's just such a
There's not
limited
anything-
area.
Yeah. So is that going to fall upon the next stage when they go for approval with this, or is that just all our endorsement?
We're approving the conversion of that space into
Residential as is.
Residential as
But they're
is.
non-conforming, and that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and that's why they're seeking a grant or a waiver by the ZBA. But if she can and decides to soften that area up, she can do so through the
Right.
building permitting process.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion to approve? Okay. Jim?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. So, motion is approved. And Laura, Paul will be in touch with you about signing both of those decisions,
Okay.
and they'll move their, and those will go through the town clerk, and Paul will follow up with you.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch with you on LinkedIn.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? So that concludes the items listed on our agenda this evening. Before I take any additional motions, Paul or Brian, is there anything else that we needed to discuss this evening that I haven't covered?
See you guys tomorrow night.
Okay. So, that is the conclusion of our agenda. Are there any additional motions on the floor?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
That would be the motion I was looking for, yes.
That was a quick one, Wayne.
So, thank you, Wayne, for the motion, and Jim for the second. Is there any further discussion on the motion to adjourn? Okay, hearing none. Jim?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Okay, I will vote yes. Thank you very much, everyone. We will see you at the joint select board meeting tomorrow evening, remotely and in person. Thank you very much.